Hey Housecast! Welcome to today's Big Brother 25 updates and spoilers! Coming live from my apartment. Sounds really echoey in here right now. I hope this sounds okay. Please let me know. I always get paranoid when I'm doing these from home and I don't have my mom being like, hey, we can't hear you. So please let me know. Yeah, so before we get started, sounds great. Thank you. Before we get started, I want to thank yesterday's super chatters because that is a fantastic way to support our channel and keep us doing what we're doing. So Shane Wright, Alex Garza, Jefferson Tucker, APB 9869, Mary Ellen L, Sean Davis, Lynn Hurst, Gail Murphy Comedy, Anita Starr, Wendy Will, and Dane Thomas. Thank you all so much for the support. We appreciate it so much. And that leads me into another fantastic way to support our channel, which is on Patreon. Yay! Our house guests of the day are Gelsey Kane and John Schwan. Thank you both so much for your support. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. Woo! And thank you everybody for saying that we deserve more than $1 on Patreon, that we're worth more than $1. I appreciate that. But yeah, let's talk about what's going on. So when we left off yesterday, we have a lot to discuss, by the way. It's another crazy day. So when we left off yesterday, they had just had the nomination/unnomination ceremony because, again, this was a weird one. Riley, the HOH, instead of just like pulling 2 new nominees out of her butt, she was taking down 2 of the 4 pre-existing nominees that we saw from the premiere, right? The 4 people that lost their competitions on premiere night ended up being the 4 initial nominees. So those original noms were Jared, Kirsten, Felicia, and Corey. And Riley decided to save Jared and Corey from the block. And I just want to be clear, these 2 can still go back up on the block after the power veto. So they are not like completely safe for the week, but they are not nominees anymore. So that means that Kirsten and Felicia remain up on the block. We know that Kirsten is Riley's and many other people's target. Kirsten, she hasn't been doing herself any favors. She's been running around a lot. She was caught spreading rumors, trying to create multiple alliances. So a lot of people are just not feeling like they can work with Kirsten. They're not trusting her because who knows when she's going to turn around and spill her guts, right? Or make things up. Who knows? But Felicia is a pawn in this scenario. And we know that Riley has discussed with her close allies that Luke would potentially be the replacement nominee if necessary. He has been rubbing people the wrong way. He's been playing dumb, which a lot of people have been picking up on. Actually, Riley is convinced that Luke is a doctor. There is a doctor in the house, but it's not Luke. It's Hisam. But anyway, yeah, Luke has really been laying it on thick. Like, I don't know what's going on. What's a back door? I didn't even realize Corey was on the block. So he's all over the place. And I think people feel like he is BSing. Like he couldn't possibly be that clueless. I don't know. But we also saw there were lots of alliances in the works. And it looks like we're moving towards a potential split house, like almost split exactly down the middle, which is wild. Oh my goodness, especially in week 1. But the alliances that we're seeing pop up this season are very reminiscent to me anyway of like Russian nesting dolls, because you have like the tight core, which is maybe like 2 to 4 people. And then you add on a few more people to have like another tier. Then you add on a few more people. Everybody's trying to get to the magic number of 8. I mean, usually we have a cast of 16 and 8 would be like a majority, you know, considering that not everybody can vote and all that. But now it's 17 people, 9, you know, but whatever. Everybody's going for 8. So yeah, it's also kind of like a multi-level marketing scheme. The people at the core have the most power, right? And then they're just adding on more and more people. But on one side of the house, we have Riley, Jag, and Blue. They are a tight core of 3. They're calling themselves Crowd Control. Then they're planning on adding in Matt and Cameron to take their numbers to 5. So that would be the handful. Then they're planning on adding on 3 more people to get to that magic number of 8. So those 3 people would be Corey, Jared, and America. And this alliance would be called Family Style. I just want to point out, other than the core of Riley, Jag, and Blue, what we talked about yesterday, those other bigger alliances of 5 and 8 had not been solidified yet. It was all just like their plan. Yeah, so I also want to say, as I mentioned yesterday, anything that Jared is involved in will get back to Sari and the other side. They don't know this, but that's just what's going to happen. And then on top of that 8, Riley was also like, we could have our safety bubble with all these other people that we feel good about. Riley is like basically trying to make an alliance with every single person in the house except for Kirsten and except for Luke. She does not like Luke. But she really needs to rein it in. The HOH-itis is setting in. She's got to realize she's not going to be HOH after this week. Ugh. So then we had Sari trying to build up her own alliance on the other side. And of course, she's also trying to get to that magic number of 8. We're going to talk about her side of the house more in depth in a bit because we do have an alliance that has formed, but we're going to talk about that later because that didn't really get solidified until after yesterday's spoiler. So anyway, let's talk about the new stuff. Let's pick it up right after the feeds came back from nominations yesterday. So Riley was crying in the HOH room. I think she was genuinely upset. I don't think that was like for show. She says she hated doing that to Kirsten and Felicia. She knows everybody works so hard to be there and to like be the first one to go. That sucks. So Jag and Blue both came in. They're both comforting her. And they're like, it's part of the game. You know, both nominees have a chance to play for POV at least. So there's that. And Riley's like, I know, but I can't even look Felicia or Kirsten in the eyes right now. I feel so bad. And then she moved on from that. She was like, well, I'm still HOH. We really need to solidify our alliances that we've been planning. We need to get this going. So they were making plans to work on that later on and really get that popping. Okay. Meanwhile, Corey and Jared, fresh off the block, they are congratulating each other in the Have Not room. Very excited and thrilled to be not on the block anymore. We're going to talk about Corey in a second because, okay, Sari, Izzy, Red, and Hisam were chatting in the comics bedroom, and they were talking about how they did not like the way that Corey acted when he was taken off the block. Oh? Apparently he had like a really smug look on his face during the ceremony, and a lot of people noticed it, and a lot of people were not feeling it. They felt like he really didn't have empathy for the 2 people that were left up on the block. I mean, of course, you're going to be excited that you're coming off the block, but you still have to take other people's feelings into consideration, especially this early on in the game when all of these alliances and everything are forming. So I forgot who it was, but somebody was asking Sari, like, is it like that on Survivor where people are all like smug like that? And she's like, usually no, because you know that could be you, that could be anybody that is leaving. So don't be getting smug because there's a whole lot of game left to play. Yeah. So then Kirsten comes in and she gets a big group hug from everybody that was in the room. She was definitely having a moment. She was crying a little bit before that. And they were telling her, oh my God, you look so good in your memory wall photo. I guess that's a nice consolation, right? So then a few minutes later, Kirsten was getting a pep talk from Jag and Blue in the scary room. And Kirsten is like, you know what? I feel like a bit of a loner right now. It seems like everybody else is grouped up. She's having a hard time making these game connections with people because she's got the stank on her right now. Everybody is looking at her as a target, so nobody is trying to like make plans with her moving forward. So Blue says there's still a lot of time and anything can happen. I mean, if you watch the show, you know that things can change at the drop of a hat. Anything could set off completely different chain of events. So Blue tells Kirsten, this is your time to shine. Show everyone that you are here to play the game. Jag points out you still got the power veto competition too, right? You could be coming off the block. So Blue says, all right, like, so you lost your first competition on premiere night. People haven't really seen what you can do yet. That comp that you were in, she was in the butt kicking one. That was really, really difficult. So there are so many different types of comps, and she can show what she can do. And Jag brings up another good point. Kirsten wasn't even really nominated. It was because of that competition, right? And then she didn't get saved. But it's not like she straight up got nominated. I mean, she might have anyway, just based off of the way that she's been playing. But yeah, America comes in the room, and these three continue to pump Kirsten up. Okay. So then Cirie, Felicia, and Jared are having a little game chat in the storage room. And there was some discussion about how in these first few days, some of these house guests are like, oh, it's too early to talk game. I don't want to make any alliances yet. And Cirie feels like that is BS for the most part. She's like, that is what somebody says when they don't want to be part of your alliance. It's like a get out of alliance free card. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if you were presented with a really great alliance in the first day, you really telling me you're not going to take it just because you don't want to like jump in too quickly? Yeah. So I think most of the time it's like BS. But anyway, Cirie tells Jared, I'm really happy for you that you're off the block, but I'm going to ask you for a favor. If you do play in the power veto and you do win, you got to think about my girl, meaning Felicia. You know, nobody wants to see Felicia up on the block. So, I mean, Jared seemed kind of open to it. I don't know. Would it mess up his game? Because he's got something kind of going with Riley and on her side right now. So if he like went against her and changed nominations, I don't think she'd be too happy about that. I mean, obviously he wouldn't be taking down Riley's target, but still like she'd have to get some more blood on her hands and put somebody else up on the block. But anyway, they all agree that Kirsten's been doing too much. She brought this on herself, and it is what it is at this point. So back to the veto talk. Felicia's really hoping that Riley would not expect her to leave the nominations the same if Felicia won the veto herself. Because Felicia's like, I'm not doing that. You know, I've been watching this show since the beginning. I don't want to look arrogant. You got to save yourself if you have that opportunity. Amen. Thank you. So then Izzy comes in, Jared leaves, so it's not super suspicious. And Izzy's like, all right, I just came from the HOH room, and there were some people in there comforting Riley. She was genuinely upset, torn up about nominations. But Izzy says the vibe in the HOH room was weird. She's still really not liking Cameron, who was up in that HOH room, and she's like, oh, he was really buttering Riley up and like joking around too much. It was weird. And Izzy says all of the guys are like drooling over Riley. They've seen that she's a comp beast and she's hot. So they all agree that Riley is probably realizing that these guys want to use her, at least for now. And they think that Riley's probably going to work with those guys for now. But eventually she might jump ship because they feel like she's pretty smart. So then Izzy is going over her ideal boot list. So, of course, she wants Kirsten to go this week. Pretty much everybody's on board with that. And then she'd like to see Corey go. I think Izzy is like super, super protective of Cirie. And she knows that Corey knows all about Cirie's survivor history and all that. And she seems very paranoid, and I think rightfully so, that Corey could try to come after Cirie at some point. So Corey is definitely Izzy's next target. Then she's thinking she wants Cameron out, and then Luke. And Cirie and Felicia are on board with this. They like this boot list. That's what they're going for. All right. So then we have Izzy and Cirie chatting alone. And Izzy's like, all right, I'm not naive. Obviously, I know you're in here with your son. You guys are super tight. Like, I would never do anything to try and like come between you guys. Um, I'm not underestimating your relationship here. And Cerise's like, I have no doubts that you are loyal to me and Jared. Like, I know you could blow up everything for us at any time if you wanted to. I'm like, yeah, that is definitely true. Izzy is holding a very important and huge secret under her hat that Cerie and Jared are mother and son. And that really would blow some shit up if she were to reveal that. But Izzy says that would not benefit her game. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to work with Cerie and Jared. And honestly, it seems like she's tighter with Cerie than she is with Jared now. Maybe that's just my opinion. I don't know, but that's what it looks like. So anyway, Izzy says that she and Cerie are at the center of the web. Jared is the next notch. What? That's absolutely wild. But okay, go off. Honestly, I do think that Izzy is even better for Cerie's game than Jared. I just think that Jared, he's just not as savvy as Izzy. But yeah, anyway, so it's Izzy and Cerie, then Jared, and then she says branching out, we have 2 4s. These are not solidified yet. I mentioned these yesterday. They were talking about getting a 4 going with Izzy, Cerie, Blue, and Hisam, and then another 4 with Izzy, Cerie, Felicia, and Bowie. Okay, so they're trying to cover their bases as much as they can. A little later, Izzy and Hisam are chatting alone in the comics room, and they're like, all right, I know that Kirsten is Riley's target this week, and I get that. But Izzy says if she were to play in the POV and win, she would definitely be using it on Felicia, and she would want Corey to go up in her place. Not necessarily for Corey to go, but to make him scared, to wipe that smug look off of his face that they are so pissed about from the nomination ceremony. So Hisam's like, yeah, I would love that too. He is not liking Corey. I think he even said he hates Corey, which seems a little extreme to me. But yeah, he does not like Corey. He says that Corey is smug and a difficult person. Yeah, so they think there is the possibility that Corey would be the replacement nominee if necessary, because he has already been up on the block, so it would be less blood on Riley's hands. But they don't realize that Riley's actually working with Corey now. These two are getting pretty tight. So I don't see Riley putting Corey back up on the block. But anyway, Izzy and Hisam also discuss Red. There was a lot of rumors spreading about him the day before. There was a lot of paranoia that Red was not only involved in, but like starting a bros alliance. And this is one of the rumors that Kirsten was spreading around a lot. But they're starting to think that Red isn't aligned with all those bros. They haven't really been hearing that from anybody. They've also noticed he's been spending a lot of time hovering around them. Maybe he's looking for a group. Maybe he's trying to get in with them. Maybe he really is one of those people who's like, it's too early for me to making any alliances or talking a game. And he wasn't just BSing. So yeah, they're starting to think differently about Red, and like maybe they could start working with him. But moving forward, again, this week they want Kirsten out. Next week, Corey. All right, speaking of Corey, meanwhile, Corey is teaching Cerie how to play chess upstairs. And Corey was talking about how he's not normally an emotional person, but this house just brings it out of you. And Cerie brings up the POV ceremony, and she's like, can I just give you some advice? And like, I hope you would do the same for me. She tells him, you should probably try to be more careful with your emotional responses. Maybe try to be a little bit more neutral and be considerate of the other people still up on the block, because of course you're excited that you're not in danger at the moment, but you got to think about the other people that are, right? You got to put yourself in their shoes. And Corey was like, oh, I can't completely relate to the others, which was weird because he was literally up on the block with them. You know how that feels. But anyway, he says he's trying really hard to keep himself in check. I could try a little bit harder. But anyway, a little later, Kirsten is talking to Hisam and Izzy in the bathroom. And Kirsten says, look, I've been exposed to so much information in the last 24 hours. And she is just spewing all of it. She is spilling some tea here. First of all, she's talking about Luke and saying, Luke was telling me that he wants to work with Matt and Riley because they are going to be comp beasts. But Luke also told her that Matt and Riley are probably like the two biggest threats here. So, gonna have to take them out at some point, right? It's interesting though, this information could be very useful in the right hands. Because we know that Riley is already anti-Luke. So if she hears that he was saying this, that's not going to be good for Luke. Definitely going to cause some issues with Matt as well, because Matt and Luke are super, super tight. But if this info is coming from Kirsten, people are not going to buy into it as much. So it would definitely have to be coming from somebody else, from a different source. But anyway, Kirsten is also spilling that there is a 7-person alliance. She says Riley, Jag, Baloo, Jared, Matt, Corey, and Luke. They're all working together, and they're trying to get Cameron on board as well. Honestly, it's an excellent read. She almost clocked the family style alliance of 8, which hasn't even fully solidified yet, right? This is an alliance that the trio of Riley, Jag, and Blue have been planning, but they have not solidified it yet. The only difference here, if you swap out Luke for America, because Luke is not a part of that alliance, but America is going to be. So this is like a huge piece of information that Kirsten is giving to Hisam and Izzy. Are they going to believe her though? Are they going to use this info? After this convo was over, Hisam was like to Izzy, oh, she's nuts. She's losing it. No, this is real. This is a real alliance. Oh my God. But anyway, let's move away from that. It's time for some mother-son time. So Suri and Jared are chatting in the gym. Starts out with some hugs and kisses. Okay. Suri tells Jared, I'm sorry, I panicked the other day. I gotta let you do your thing. I don't know. You should be worried about Jared. Jared is he's not as skilled at this as Suri is. So honestly, she should be worried about him. But anyway, Jared says we have the numbers, and he really wants to win that next HOH because he wants to solidify certain relationships. And Suri was like a little bit giddy hearing this. She's like, oh, look at you. It definitely felt like it was like a proud mom moment for her. So then Izzy walks in, and Suri is telling Izzy and Jared about her conversation with Riley, where Riley was telling Suri, like, I want to work with you and Felicia. I think you're great, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she did say that, and I think she meant it, but also, like, Riley wants to work with literally everyone except for Luke and Kirsten. So take that with a grain of salt. But anyway, Izzy says that Kirsten is saying Jared is working with Riley. So she was like, what's going on there? Like, I know you told me about that alliance of 5 from day 1, but like, what's the deal? So they're like asking questions of Jared about the Phalanx 5. They didn't use that name, but they're asking him questions about that. And Jared is like not giving the best answers. Like, he's being kind of like vague at first and being like, I don't know. So it's like, what's going on here? But Izzy is asking, like, was Luke the one that named the alliance? Yes, because it was Phalanx 5 and it was like some nerdy ass name. But Jared can't seem to remember at first, and then eventually he's like, yeah, I think he named it. Izzy's asking, is Blue or Jag in the alliance? And Jared's like again, he's not giving like straight answers at first. And I feel like Suri and Izzy are getting super frustrated with him during this conversation. Also, I think the issue here is that they're talking about different alliances at this point. Izzy thinks that she's asking about the Phalanx 5, I guess, and I guess Jared also thinks that's what she's asking about, but like that's not what Kirsten was talking about. Yeah, so Jared says no, like Blue and Jag are not in that alliance. Also, Jared hasn't been brought into that group of 8 yet, so he doesn't know that that is like an actual alliance yet. But anyway, after that confusing conversation, Suri and Izzy are chatting alone. And Suri is like, Kirsten does have some valid information. We can't just like discount everything she says as lies. Like, she's got some tea here. For real. So Suri also says Jared needs to get his answers together a little quicker. Like, what was that? So they had a good laugh about that. She's checking her son, that's for sure. So in other news, Red is starting to open up a little bit. He is chatting with Izzy and Suri in the comics bedroom. They all sleep in that bedroom together. And he says, I'm really starting to figure out who my people are. You know, I was really sitting back at first and just trying to like get to know people on a personal level and see who I want to work with. And he says, I feel super comfortable with both of you. And Suri and Izzy agree, like, yeah, we feel good about you too. Red also says he feels good about Cameron and Hisam. Hisam, yes. Cameron, he says, I don't know if it's just like the country boy connection or what. Cameron is getting to be a little bit much. I feel like Cameron is feeling super confident now that he's working with Riley and all of them. And, you know, I think some of that HOH-itis might be rubbing off on him a bit. I don't know. But not enjoying him as much as I was in the first day or two. But Red says, look, I've got a big personality. I don't want to end up in the crosshairs because of that. I also need to be really careful in these competitions because I don't want people to realize that I could be a comp beast. I don't want to show how much of a threat I am. And Izzy and Suri are like, yeah, that's smart, good thinking. And Izzy says, honestly, we should let all of those people upstairs in that HOH room think that they are the only comp beasts, because now also people are making it kind of obvious that they're working together and hanging out up in that HOH room. But yeah, Red gets a little crazy here. He's like, I think that Kirsten might have a crush on me. What? And he thinks that Kirsten might expect him to use the power veto on her if he wins. I don't know about all that, but anyway, later, it was time to start solidifying some alliances. So we have a new one called the Bye Bye Bitches. Shout out to Janelle. I want to hear Julie say this name on the show. I don't think she will because, okay, you know how it says Bye Bye Bitches on the wall in one of the rooms? When Julie was doing her house tour, she would not say it out loud. So I feel like they would make them change the name or like come up with some sort of a nickname for it because Julie is not gonna say bitch on TV. Anyway, this name was created by Felicia, and this alliance is Suri, Felicia, Izzy, Bowie, and Nicole. So 5 people. I love this group. I think it's great. I really like the energy, and I want to see what they can do. They were hanging out in the comics bedroom at the time, and when Felicia said, we're going to be Bye Bye Bitches, everybody was screaming. They didn't scream out the name like the Phalanx 5 did on day 1, but they were screaming with their excitement. So yeah, they were all hanging out in the comics bedroom, and Felicia's like, we need to pull in some other people before it's too late. We don't want to be somebody's second option, right? We got to get to 8. 8. So there are 3 extras outside of Bye Bye Bitches. We've got Jared, Red, and Hisam. Okay, so that's one side of the house. Then a little later, up in the HOH room, we've got the official formation of the handful Alliance. And this name has two like meanings to it. I mean, it's a handful because it's 5 people. 5 fingers. But also, this alliance is comprised of people that were in the scary bedroom on night 1. And that scary bedroom's got all the hands like trying to come into the room. So creepy. So this alliance is Riley, Jag, Blue, Cameron, and Matt. So if you remember from before, we've got the core of Riley, Jag, and Blue, and then the 2 add-ons, Cameron and Matt, to get them to 5. So they're all super pumped about this alliance. They're all dancing around the HOH room, and Riley's like, we are a multifaceted, well-oiled machine. We were all together on night 1, and we just knew there was something special here. So they're talking about how they need to solidify more numbers. This is just their core. We know that the real core is Riley, Jag, and Blue, but as far as Cameron and Matt are concerned, this is the core, and then they want to add on 3 more people. So this meeting was interrupted briefly by Corey coming upstairs. So Riley goes out to the hallway to talk to him, and she's just like, Corey, you're awesome. You deserve to be here. We need to win this veto and keep the nominations the same. So she just wants to get back into that HOH room and like talk about this new alliance. But Corey is like chatting her ear off, like, how'd you feel about nominations? Blah, 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 blah. So eventually, Riley's like, why don't you come find me tomorrow? We'll chat. So Corey goes off on his way. Riley goes back into the HOH room, back into the meeting with the handful. And Jag says, we got to be rock solid. We got to trust each other. And they all agree. No leaky valves. They can't make it obvious that they're working together, which is hilarious because, again, they all sleep in the same room. And also, they all went up to the HOH room together. And it wasn't even like it was like some middle of the night meeting that nobody would see. It was like 10:15 p.m. People noticed. I mean, Hisam was watching people going into and out of that HOH room. So he saw what was going on. And that HOH group became aware that Hisam knew what was going on. And they're pretty nervous about that. But anyway, they talk about more about this alliance. Like, this is our family. We're all comp beasts, but we're also socially strong. I mean, I don't know about that. But anyway, they feel like they've got it all. So they also talk about adding their buddies on the side. These people are people that they're working with, they want things from, but these people that they're adding on are not as important as this 5 or 3. These people are expendable to them, basically. So they're talking about adding America, Corey, and Jared to the group. And again, it's like, oh, Jared. Because Jared's going to spill to the other side. But they don't know that. How would they know that? So again, this group is talking like they've got it all figured out. And they stayed up late. I mean, late. And this was knowing that they would have to be up early the next morning for the veto. They got the heads up that they were going to be up early, but they decided to stay up late. So as the night went on, they added Corey into the group. They added America into the group. They didn't get to Jared last night, but 7 out of 8, they felt pretty good about it. So yeah, that's a lot. This morning, Jag officially invites Jared to the 8-person alliance, family style. And he fills him in on who's in it. And he's like, we're probably not going to be able to all meet together at the same time because it's just too dangerous. How long is it going to take for Jared to spill this information to his mom or Izzy? Not long at all. I think it took maybe like 20 minutes, and then Jared was spilling to Izzy. He told her all about the alliance, everyone that's in it. Do you think Izzy is realizing like, oh shit, Kirsten was right, pretty much. So anyway, Jared's like, I'm going to have to be on the inside of that alliance and bring back that info. And I think Jared's realizing like, holy crap, we need to make sure that our side is solidified and we have enough numbers to combat this new group that has formed, right? So Izzy's like, don't worry. Your mom and I have been pulling people in. We're working on red. We're working on Mikol. We're working on Hisam. So we're looking pretty good here with the numbers to go up against them. I mean, it's pretty evenly split, right? It's wild. So Izzy says, all these alliances aside, ultimately, it's the two of us and your mom together. That's who we really care about. Izzy did not mention that she sees it as her and Sari and then Jared. But anyway, this morning they had the Power Veto player picks. We've got the host, Sari, and then the players are Riley, the HOH, 2 nominees, Kirsten and Felicia, and then our 3 extra players are Bowie, Hisam, and then I think Blue. I think Blue is the third, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But if we look at this lineup, at this point, Kirsten's in a lot of trouble if she does not win this power veto. Nobody else here would use it on her. Maybe somebody would use it on Felicia. Like, I think Hisam was thinking like, oh, I got to save her. But things got a little murky leading up to this POV competition. Riley has said to quite a few people now, if the power veto is used, Luke would be her replacement nominee. But Izzy is getting paranoid. She's not really sure that Riley, bless you, she's not really sure that Riley is telling the truth about that. She's starting to get paranoid that if the veto is used, Riley would try to backdoor Sari. Okay, so we know that Riley is not planning on doing that. But Izzy is convinced that this is a possibility. Number one, I guess she didn't tell everybody that Luke would be the replacement, but she did tell Sari. So Izzy's like, oh my God, what if this is like a decoy that she's just telling Sari so that Sari feels comfortable? Or she was saying, I guess, okay, this is a lot. But apparently Kirsten was saying she was surprised that Riley did not save her because when they were talking one time, Kirsten was leaving the room and Riley said, bye, bestie. So then there was speculation that maybe this was some sort of pointed remark. And then apparently Riley had said bye, bestie to Sari the other night. So now Izzy is is bye, bestie some sort of code for you're going up on the block? So yeah, there's some paranoia here. And Hisam is like, well, we can't have that. We can't have Sari potentially going up on the block. So he is determined to win this power veto, not to use it on Felicia anymore, but to keep the nominations the same. They're pretty confident that Felicia is going to be safe this week. No worries. But they do not want to risk Sari possibly going up on the block. Again, this is not something that we've seen Riley considering at all, but there is some paranoia. Yeah, so then the fees were down for the power veto competition. I'm pretty sure, let me just check. They're still down. So yeah, who knows when they're going to be coming back. Depends on what competition they're doing. But if you want to check back later, I will put the POV winner in the info box of this video. Yeah, and I want to remind you guys, I don't usually do spoilers on Sundays because I need a day off for my mental health. So no spoiler tomorrow. I'll be back on Monday with that. But we will be doing an episode recap tomorrow. So we hope you join us for that tomorrow night. Yay! Okay, so now I want to thank all of our super chatters. Oh no, I just remembered that I can't get pictures on my phone for some reason right now. Mom sent me a picture tried to send me a picture of the super chatters. Oh no, I don't know what's going on. Does anybody else have a problem with their iPhone like that? For some reason, I cannot send or receive photos right now. It's very frustrating. But luckily, I think I can just scroll through the chat to thank all of our super chatters. So Dan Berry, thank you so much for the super chat. That sticker is a lot of fun. Julia Mello, thank you so much for the super chat. Julia says, love you, girl. Thanks for all you do. Thanks. Thanks for watching. Laura Greer, yay. Thank you so much. Laura says, hey, this might seem low, but found out YouTube takes 30% and want you to get my full amount for 100 days of content. Is the address in the description box where I send that? Much love. Oh my God, Laura, you are so sweet. Yeah, unfortunately, YouTube does take 30%, which seems like a lot in my opinion. But you were so sweet. Oh my God. And yes, that is our current PO box listed in the info box. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You are pretty much like an angel investor in this, so we really do appreciate it. Astro Joe Garcia, thank you so much for the super chat. Astro Joe says, looking forward to the 100 days BB spoilers with Madrosed. Wishing much love to a great season. I am Team America, who is representing the RGV of Texas. Thank you so much for the support. It is going to be a 100-day season. What's up? It is a 100-day season, but because I take Sundays off, it's going to be not 100 spoilers, but I mean, it's a lot still, right? We're probably going to be up in the 80s, I would think. Probably like high 80s. So that's a lot. But thank you. Mary Ellen L, thank you so much for the super chat and love that kitty cat sticker. Timothy, thank you for the super chat. Timothy says, was shocked last year to discover that some of my favorite BB hosts were also vegan like me. Yay! Vegans represent. Thank you for all your amazing work and for changing how I make tofu. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm actually going to be making some tofu tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. I got to get that going right after I finish up here. And thank you again for your super chat. Samuel Johnson, thanks for the super chat. Samuel says, thank you. Your updates make the entire BB season watchable for me. BB USA should thank you too. That's very kind of you to say. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, we'll be back tomorrow night for our episode chat. So we'll see you there. And until next time, much love. Bye, everybody.